It's time for Lefties Losing It, and get ready to lose some functioning brain cells because we're going to bring you some diabolically dumb takes from the dim-witted left, starting with Don Lemon. You remember him? He was sacked by CNN after 17 years of the network. That followed accusations of misogyny and misbehaviour. And then there were his terrible ratings. Then he was sacked by Elon Musk after a disastrous interview, but he's still out there spewing his terrible takes, often race-based takes. Here he claims you cannot be black and be MAGA. Just listen to this and marvel at how a man this divorced from reality was able to be a network anchor for so long.
It's the same thing that when I see not all black Republicans, but I see a black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying, it is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a black MAGA person, it's like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere black MAGA person?
No, I just said, I don't think that. I just said I think there can be sincere Republicans,
but you can't be a sincere black Republican.
I don't think that you can. I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can be black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
Well, I mean, the truth is often insulting.
The truth is often insulting, and the truth is Don Lemon is a race-baiting simpleton who managed to foul his way up at CNN until even they had enough of his nonsense. As well as being a certifiable clown, he is also hugely ineffective. Here he is on CNN explaining how he campaigned for Kamala Harris by going around telling black men in battleground states that they were essentially dumb if they supported Trump.
I went from battleground state to battleground state. When they invited me to the convention, I didn't just want to fly there. I said, I'm going to go and talk to voters in battleground states, and I did. It was not curated. I went up to people just doing man on the street and said, who are you going to vote for? Black men. And time after time after time, they said, I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Why?
Now, there are reasons why. They said, because most of the time they said, well, you know, for economic reasons, right? Or because he gave me a stimulus check, and I had to correct them over and over.
Can't believe that didn't work out. But old mate Don is not alone in being hopelessly out of touch, hopelessly clueless about real people and what motivates them. Let's hear now from two awfuls, affluent white female lefties, former NBC and CBS host Katie Couric and an alleged historian, Heather Cox Richardson. Here she claims that Donald Trump is suffering cognitive decline. Not Joe Biden, but Donald Trump.
Katie, the man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He really is. And you know, that to me is, I mean, everybody's like, oh,
the ego knows no bounds.
No, the ego has never known any bounds, but the ego used to be anchored at least in a brain that could finish a sentence, and it's not there anymore. I promise you, I watch this man a lot, and I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you, if he were in my family, we would be looking at care.
Remember when Katie Couric had some credibility? Me neither. The way these people lie is just shameless, gross. Let's check in on how President Trump is doing. One thing is for sure, he is the funniest president we've ever had.
He didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged again.
Should have gotten it.
This...
Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with...
Because nobody will show up.
People with...
Well, it's true. Nobody shows up to his rally.
He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
It's amazing. I mentioned food stamps, and that guy who's seriously overweight went crazy.
By the way, I don't like this mic. Whoever the hell brought this mic system, don't the son of a to put it in, I'll tell you. These people. No, this mic is terrible. Stupid mic keeps popping. Do you hear that, George? Don't pay him. Don't pay him. You know, I believe in paying. But when somebody does a bad job, like this stupid Mike, you shouldn't pay the best, sir. Terrible.
As I said, he's the funniest president we'll ever have. Now, we love nothing more than mocking the dangerously delusional left, and it doesn't get much more delusional and dim-witted than a member of the LGBTQIA++ community cheering for Palestine. They've been doing it for years now, and the levels of idiocy are only increasing. Listen to this clown giving a shout-out to what he calls trans Palestinians.
I want to give a special shout out to all the queer and trans Palestinians. Not only are we honored to have you as part of our community, but Palestine is the moral compass of the world.
Palestine is the moral compass of the world. So the moral compass of the world is virulently anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-everything LGBTQIA. You don't have to worry about pronouns in Gaza or the West Bank. You have to worry about staying alive. No rooftop parties, but the turkeys in the West keep cheering for Christmas. That was the UK, Manchester. And here is another turkey cheering for Christmas in song.
And this song is written for Palestine, and here you have it. We are waving the rubber of our hopes and dreams, marching out while our voices for the world to see, posting back in the hatred of the Israelis.
That is enough of that. Thank you. I told you 5 seconds only. The producers have gone rogue. Let's hear from this young lass who thinks Trump and RFK want to put her in a concentration camp. Try to follow this logic if you can.
Well, I'm autistic and bisexual, and I don't want to be put on a registry, and I don't want my data to be used illegally by RFK, and I don't want to be shipped off to a health farm by RFK that he's going to, he plans to put us all on, similar to I shouldn't say similar, it's a health farm version of the concentration camps in Alligator Alcatraz, and nobody deserves to be in concentration camps. That's Nazi shit.
Now, my next guest has been in DC, making a nuisance of himself again, trying to stop the deportation of big booty Latinas, and that's a direct quote.
Please! Let our big booty Latinas stay! I love you! Big booty Latinas, protect them!
Yo, AOC's not here, bro.
AOC's not here? Oh my God! Where is he? Do you know where she is?
I don't know, but don't call the press.
Okay, sorry, but I just need to speak to AOC or Tom Homan. This is a bipartisan issue.
Joining me now is a comedian and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex, I ask this again, what is wrong with you, son?
Honestly, a lot of people, they think conservatives are anti-immigration. No, we just don't want cartel members here that don't have any, a background check coming into our country. Really and truly, the great women that are cleaning hotel rooms or working in restaurants and, beautiful big booty Latinas, they deserve amnesty. So I'm fighting for the ones that can't fight for themselves right now.
Dear. Now, let's check in on the dude who could be the next mayor of New York, Democrat and communist Zoran Mamdani. Here he displays his masculine energy, his raw strength. Brace yourselves, ladies. You're about to be underwhelmed.
This is how you move up in the polls. Yeah! Yeah! Let's go. Yeah! Let me get one more. Let me get three. Yeah!
3. Alex, he didn't even do a single rep unassisted, let alone 3. You've got to say that was pretty pathetic.
That was very embarrassing. I mean, he should be ashamed. And he's from Africa. You'd think he'd have some strength to be able to do 135 pounds. You think that would be very easy for a normal, adult male that's in decent shape. But Mamdani is weak, and he's going to be weak on crime, and he's going to be weak when it comes to leading the city of New York. And I really hope that he does not win. But you see all of the momentum that he has. People post this, and even though we're making fun of him, sadly, we're kind of giving him the publicity that he kind of wants, and that might help him propel in this election. So I really hope, for the sake of New York City, one of the greatest cities in the world, that he does not become their leader. But, when you see people cheering on a guy benching 135 pounds, they're not exactly setting the bar very high for what they want in their elected officials.
Now, let's see what's happening in Minneapolis. The mayor there, Jacob Frey, is doing whatever this is. Alex, tell me what is happening in Minneapolis with Minnesota Democrats revoking the endorsement of the Democratic Socialist candidate, Omar Fatah, for Minneapolis mayor. On what grounds have they done this?
Well, probably because they don't want him to win. So they don't want to put the support behind him because they see the Somali community getting behind him. And, they probably would rather him not be in power. I mean, you look at people like Ilhan Omar, and you kind of look at, some of the other Somalian politicians, they probably don't have America's best interest. I think that they have their, they have a little bit of a dual loyalty thing going on. And I really think that's coming out when it comes to Omar. People are realizing that he might not be for the people.
Well, the Democrats don't seem to be troubled by that normally, so I'm surprised the Minnesota Democrats would take that action because, well, they haven't stopped others who might have a dual loyalty from running in the past. Now, let's talk about Cracker Barrel. They've issued a statement after the fallout from their silly rebrand. They've said, you've shown us that we could have done a better job. This is a message to their customers, and it was a fairly lengthy diatribe without really much substance. Alex, tell me about this consumer backlash and why people are so upset with this rebrand.
Well, I think this is some of the greatest 5D chess marketing ever. They kind of got everybody in, up in a fit about them rebranding. And then now they're saying they're going to keep Uncle Herschel on the menu and they're not going to take him off. And, there is actually a conspiracy behind this. It's not when these big legacy brands change their logo to, a very simplistic version of their old logo. It's not just a demoralization tactic. A lot of it has to do with these companies are basically real estate holdings. And so when these companies go out of business, like McDonald's, the reason why that these McDonald's aren't very unique, or Pizza Huts aren't unique anymore, because these fast food companies are basically real estate companies. And they know that one day these businesses are going to go out of business and a new business is going to have to take over these kind of square, gray, plain looking buildings. So it's not necessarily just to demoralize us. There's actually it's just all about profits to these corporations. They don't care about the customer. They just care about their bottom dollar.
Yeah, but they've got to understand that there is a price to pay for going woke, particularly depending on the demographics of your customer base. And there was a piece in the New York Post explaining that woke is becoming a massive risk factor in the corporate world. They said wokeness is generally defined as subjecting the culture and business to left-wing dogma involving race, sex, and viewing all things Americana as anathema. It simply doesn't sell to mass audiences, and yet companies keep going there. Corporate managers, it turns out, are a politically and socially tone-deaf bunch. They are lousy at reading the current mood of the country and its hatred of progressive indoctrination, whether in the classroom or when they simply want to enjoy a beer. It explains it really well, Alex, because we've seen this phenomenon with Bud Light, we've seen it with big brands like Target, Disney, Jaguar. Some iconic brands have suffered some big reputational damage and they've backed away from that woke marketing. Alex, we've run out of time. Thank you so much for your time this evening.